As someone who's always looking for ways to invest, always interested in things of value, and always on the hunt for things that no one else has, trading cards have always tickled my fancy. I remember collecting baseball cards as a child and rolling up on the playground with them like I was going to trade on Wall Street. So it shouldn't be too surprising that when Pokémon cards came onto the scene, I may have snagged a couple. And sure, I am an adult who goes to my job in a suit every morning in a nice car, but just look at this. I mean, why would you not want something this badass in your collection? That all being said, aside from looking cool and being fun to collect, there are some Pokémon cards out there that'll cost you as much as a house. That's why today, we're going to take a look at the 5 most expensive Pokémon cards in the world. We'll explore why they're so expensive, who's bought and sold them, and how many of them actually exist. Number 5. Kangaskhan Family Event Trophy, 1998. One of the most expensive Pokémon cards ever sold also happens to be one of the most rare. Most card enthusiasts estimate that the Kangaskhan Family Event Trophy card is the 3rd most rare Pokémon card on the market, and I must admit, I'm a bit eager to try and get my hands on one of these. Oh, I have a fondness for Gen 1 Pokémon. These new ones that transform into kitchen appliances just really don't do much for me. But you know what does do it for me? The price this little card fetched its seller. A PSA 10 rated Kangaskhan Family Event Trophy card sold for $37,200. The card was a Japanese exclusive, as many on this list are. It was distributed to the winners of a parent and child mega battle in Japan in May of 1998. Only 46 of the cards have ever been graded, and only 11 of those are rated PSA 10, making it one of the most rare cards in the Pokémon world. However, there's one more tiny detail that dramatically increased the value of the card. The card retains the original Pocket Monsters card game logo on the back, which is often considered a holy grail find by collectors. Number 4. Ishihara GX Pokémon Card. Pokémon cards don't necessarily have to have a Pokémon on them in order to be worth the big bucks. And while I never gravitated towards cards that didn't have those special little creatures on them, I might have to keep an eye out now. The 4th most expensive Pokémon card in the world, the Ishihara GX card, sold for a whopping $50,000 in 2020. The card was made in 2017, although you weren't able to find this odd-looking card on the shelves. It was created and distributed to celebrate Tsunekazu Ishihara's 60th birthday party. If you don't know, Ishihara is the president of the Pokémon Company and has worked on developing Pokémon from its very creation all the way through to the modern age with Pokémon Go. And really, what better way to celebrate the president of Pokémon than with his very own card? The card was illustrated by Mike Cressy and, of course, depicts Ishihara. The illustration shows Ishihara smiling and tossing a Master Ball with a Rotom by his side. As I said before, Rotom isn't exactly the Pokémon sidekick I'd go with. I'm more of an Arcanine guy myself. But perhaps one of the most charming features of the card are the small details that have been added in to really personalize it. The GX attack, which is grass and electric, is named 60 Congratulations and deals 1060 damage. I suppose the more references to his age they could add, the better. The description of the move reads, flip 60 coins. For each heads, take a present. And while I'm not sure how handy that would be in an actual game, it's the sentiment that counts. There's no official number on how many of these cards were ever made, because they were solely gifted to Pokémon employees. However, estimates range between 30 and 200, with many people saying that only 60 were made. Either way, only 2 of these cards have ever hit the market. The cards weren't meant to be sold, and it seems most of the people who own them have abided by that. One of the cards sold for $12,500, while the most recent sold for a whopping $50,000 on eBay. Number 3. Pokémon Trainer NO Card. Pokémon competitions have been around since the cards hit the market. Now, the king of all tournaments, the Pokémon World Championship, happens every year. People from around the world come to the chosen city to compete, and if they win, they get a special victory card just for them. However, before there was the World Championship, there were smaller regional tournaments, specifically in Japan. At one such tournament in 1999, a mysterious-looking card was awarded to the winners. The card granted the winners of the 7 regional tournaments gets access to the final round at a secret location in Tokyo, which feels like a pretty Pokémon thing to do if you ask me. And if you won this card back then, you'd be a real winner today, because one of these cards sold for a whopping $90,000 in July of 2020. The card features a dark outline of Mewtwo with its hand outstretched. On the side, an insignia reads Super Secret Battle, and below, the card reads The Pokémon Card Game Official Tournament's champion is recognized here, and this honor is praised. By presenting this card, you may gain preferential entry into the Secret Super Battle. The card, which sold in 2020, was a Mint 10 card, the highest quality rating that can be awarded to any trading card. Number 2. Charizard. It should come as no surprise that one of the most expensive cards is a Charizard. After all, if you want to be the very best, like no one ever was, you've got to have a Charizard in your collection. And sorry, I didn't make the rule, the kids on the playground did. A 1999 first edition Charizard, which was rated a grade 10, sold for a whopping $220,574 at an auction held by Iconic Auction on October 9th, 2020. The final bid was $183,812, with an additional 20% buyer's fee added to leave that final price well above $200,000. So, who in their right mind would buy a card for the price of a house? Well, it wasn't some random collector. It was actually purchased by Logic, the former rapper and current Twitch streamer. And the reasoning behind his purchase is something that warmed my old heart. In an Instagram post, Logic revealed that as a child, he couldn't afford Pokémon cards. He even went as far as trying to trade food stamps with kids to get his hands on a couple of cards. But as an adult, he's worked hard to be able to afford the second most expensive card ever sold. He said buying the Charizard was like buying back a little piece of something he could just never have. Number 1. Pokémon Illustrator Card. Finally, we've reached the most expensive Pokémon card of all time. Before doing my research, I was almost certain that the most expensive card would belong to a legendary Pokémon, or perhaps even a Pikachu. And while the most expensive card does feature a Pikachu, it's not actually a Pikachu card. This Pokémon Illustrator card sold in 2020 for a startling $250,000 to an anonymous buyer, eclipsing the card's previous record of $190,000. The Illustrator card was yet another special event card that was given out over the course of 3 contests that were run by Korokoro Comics between 1997 and 1998. Contestants submitted their own Pokémon cards, and the selected winners were given this Illustrator card, as well as 20 copies of the card they created. And if you got one, you've got it made. The card features Pikachu holding a paintbrush on a holographic background, and has the distinction of being drawn by Atsuko Nishida, the original illustrator of Pikachu, which is a main driving force behind the card's high price point. The Japanese text on the cards reads, "We certify that your illustration is an excellent entry in the Pokémon card game illustration contest. Therefore, we state that you are an officially authorized Pokémon card illustrator and admire your skill." On the bottom right side of the card, there is a small pen symbol, another addition that makes this card utterly unique. It is the only card to feature this symbol, and the only trainer-style card to be labeled something other than trainer on the top. The card that sold in 2019 had an impressive Mint 9 rating, meaning the card features only a minor imperfection. Much like the Kongoskin card we spoke about earlier, the Illustrator card has the original Pocket Monsters logo on the back, harkening back to the early days of this card game, which, as of 2020, has sold more than 30.4 billion cards worldwide. So, there you have it, the most expensive Pokémon card ever sold. Which one of these would you like to get your hands on? And what's your favorite Pokémon? Let me know in the comments down below. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Oh, and maybe turn on post notifications. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go open some old Pokémon packs that I have hidden away. As always, I'm Mr. Luxury. Pip pip to doodly doo.